Good morning, everyone. Hold on, excuse me. So I wanted to say something real quickly. Excuse me while I straighten my shirt. Okay. So I wanted to say to everybody that sorry it's been so long. It's been a very long time. I do apologize that it's been so long. I actually wanted to share it with you guys. What I've been thinking about last couple of days and about this pandemic and things like that, but all good things, of course. Um and some sad things, but okay. So first I wanted to talk about the pandemic. So involving this pandemic, I wanted to say that I'm sorry. I'm really sorry about this whole pandemic thing. And I'm sure a lot of people in these times are struggling over just the hurt, the pain, the loss. You can't buy a roll of toilet paper because everybody's buying it up. You can't get hand sanitizer, which used to be the most common thing. Like you could just go to a dollar store, you could find it. You could go to a Walmart, you could find it. And a lot of people have lost a lot of things. But I want you to be encouraged because, you know, let's say you did lose somebody in this pandemic. Well, you know that you'll see them again because God is good. And I don't believe that if someone dies, that it's just the end. A lot of people think that when we die, we just that's the end. That's the end of the road. There's nothing beyond that. But I can tell you for sure that God, Jesus Christ, is very real. And He's the greatest thing ever. You know, my entire life, being raised by my grandmother, who I thought of as my own mother, I loved that woman, even though she was awful to me. And for many years, I wanted to do anything and everything to impress her. I would go out of my way. Not only would I clean the entire house, but I would even go as far as to clean her bathroom. I would rub her feet. I would call her beautiful. I would compliment her. I would do everything in my power to be pleasing to my grandmother, and I never was. I think the only time she actually really appreciated me is when she would tell people that I could really clean and that, I'm mannerable, and then, like, the other thing was, that I was not pregnant, that I was saving myself for marriage, but other than that, she never really had anything to say to me, not even to my face. It was usually to other people, like friends, and it honestly hurt me. It really did, and there's a point to this. I was watching on TV a few minutes ago. I'm trying to think of what the channel's called, but it's a Christian channel. But there was this woman who was saying that she didn't have a good relationship with her mother, and right now she's distancing herself from her mother. She finally cut her out of her life, but then she's like, "Well, how can I change that?" And what Joyce Meyer said was that sometimes if a relationship is bad, if it is hurting you, if it is causing you stress, to kind of remove them for a while. Remove them for a while, and then when you feel you're ready, try again and say to the person that I'm going to be praying for you and that I hope our relationship can change. Now, when I moved from my grandmother and I came with my family now, she wanted nothing to do with me. But did I give up? I didn't. I waited a year to talk to her, but I tried my best. I tried a couple of times, and the very last time she finally answered me, She still didn't say I love you to me, but she did talk to me. And it felt good for her to talk to me like a human being. It was very unusual for her. And I remember after she had passed, I remember crying to God saying, "Lord, I waited my entire life. I for many years would tell her, like I'd tell people that me and my grandmother's going to have a relationship, and it didn't happen. It didn't." And I was like, "Lord, I didn't have a relationship with the person who raised me. I called this person mother." It broke my heart, but then I came to the realization of something. I didn't need her. I did not need my grandmother. I didn't need her to define myself. I didn't need her to go on. I was putting so much faith and trust in myself and in my grandmother, I never realized that God was who was there for me all those years. God, when I got saved, let me tell you, there was a joy that it was almost like, imagine, before being saved, I was empty. You hear people talking about PTSD? Oh, I had it bad. I would have flashbacks. I was very unforgiving. It's not like I couldn't move on, it was like I legitimately couldn't. I was so traumatized. I would go many years being depressed, being angry, being suicidal, just being every bad thing you can think of. I hated life. I hated myself. I hated people. But then I accepted Jesus, and it was almost like a light switch just got turned on. It was almost like a light started coming inside, and it started getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And now I look back on my life and I think, wow, look what God got me through. I was just conversating with my family this morning because I was telling them, I've told this story before, but I was telling a sister of mine about, you know, about what happened between, like, me and my aunt. We were driving to church one day and we got into a car crash. But as the car crash was heading towards us, I thought we were going to die. I legitimately thought we were gonna die, and I thought, and I was saved by that time, so my immediately thought as it was coming towards us, my first thought was, "Well, I'm coming to you, Jesus." And I thought that that was it, but when it crashed, none of us got hurt. Now, the other girl, though, she didn't necessarily get, I don't know if she got hurt, but she did definitely hyperventilate and freak out. She did end up all right in the end, which is good. Um, Yeah, that was not good. But I was so relieved, and we were on our way to church. Sadly, we did not make it to church. If it were me driving, I would have been like, "I'm still going to church. Hey, I maybe got into a car crash today, but God is good and I'm not missing church. Even if I have to be there for the end of church, I am not missing church." That's just me. I'm the type of person where God is my life. And I've heard a lot of people tell me I'm overly religious, but I don't look at it as religion. I'm going to give you a great example. If you're a guy, think of it as a girlfriend. If you're a girl, think of it as a boyfriend. But have you ever been so in love with a person that you can't stop talking about them? Well, my love for Jesus is more than that. More than that for a boyfriend, more than that for other people, because I love everybody. But the way I love God is more than anything. It's a type of love you can't explain. And when you love something enough, you're gonna nonstop talk about it because you love that thing so much. You love that person so much, you can't help yourself. And I find myself bringing up Jesus a lot. Sometimes I'll be like, okay, I guess I can dial it back, but it's so hard when you adore Jesus. And, my entire life of being unappreciated by my grandmother and now finally being with a family who does appreciate me, You don't like, it is a magnificent feeling. It's almost like I don't know how to explain. It's like being bullied your entire life, and then finally it stops, and now you live in a castle. You're living the life, and you realize, wow, look what God got me through. And I think my biggest hurdle now is growing up because if you look at me now, I'm a strong woman, but I have some childish tendencies. Like I spend all my money. I'm praying and asking God to help me with that. But I'm telling you guys now, life is going to throw things at you. And when I say life, what I really mean to say is the devil will throw things at you. But God is always there to stop whatever's heading towards you. And like a stairway, he makes you climb over it and above it. You don't just go around the item. You don't just go around the object that's flying towards you. You go above it. And I miss I miss my brother David to pieces. I think about him often because me and my brother David were best friends. I remember our whole life we had spent together as children. And then one day he left. And I thought he abandoned me when I was younger, but I had found out that he didn't just move to move. When he had told me, I can't, when I had begged him, please don't go, he said, I can't. I have to leave. I thought that, oh, he's just leaving to leave. Many years later, 6 years later, after not talking to me, 2 days before my grandmother dies, he says to me, I ask him, so why did you abandon me in Kaylana? Because that's what Grandma told me. She told me in Kaylana, David traded you guys for a horse, a video camera, and a trip to Disneyland. I'll never forget because that was the dumbest thing a person has ever told me. And I believed it. I was so naive to believe my grandmother. And David told me, he laughed. He said, well, yeah, I I did get a horse, but I didn't trade you guys for that. He had told me that grandma had kicked him out because apparently, um, David told his friend about his other grandmother's offer to come live with her. And he had said to his friend, I'm thinking about doing it, but I'm not for sure. And the mother of the friend told our grandmother, and she's like, oh, so he's moving. And so she takes us all to Golden Corral one day and says, so, David, I hear you're moving. And he's all, I don't know what you're talking about. And the next day, she kicked him out. She had him packing everything and kicked out. And in my eyes, all I saw was, why is David packing up and leaving? Because first he had left for the summer with his dad, and then he comes back, and all of a sudden he's leaving immediately after. But it was grandmother. That's kind of like how when my brother Eddie, he had stayed with us for like a couple of weeks. I would say maybe a month, almost a month, not quite a month, maybe a month. But I remember it was a little bit of time, but not too long of time. He had stayed with us, and then he just left. And then I asked Grandma what happened to Eddie, and she's all, "Oh, he left. He ran away again." I say again because when he was 18, he went to go live with our mom, our real mom, and found out from Eddie that no, he didn't just run away. He first of all, he never ran away. When he was 18, he was old enough to go live with our mom. Second of all, when he was 20 something, I can't remember, 24 or 25, he was like he left because grandma kicked him out. Funny. And I believe wholeheartedly that why Kaylana didn't want to talk to me at the funeral is grandma probably lied to her saying that I abandoned her, even though that's not true, because Kaylana wanted nothing to do with me. And I don't know what that was. Because I remember me and Kaylana, I practically raised her. I really did. When she was like 5 to 9, Who was there taking care of her? I changed her diapers. I gave her baths. I adored Peel on It. And grandma just got in her head and manipulated her. I looked at her pictures online and she looks very happy now. I hope that she has a happy life. She probably doesn't even remember half of the stuff that happened between us. She probably many years may try to get in contact with me again, or she may just be like, "Well, that was that." But to be real with you, I just have you ever looked back on your life and thought to yourself, "Man, I wish that it could be like it was. I wish that I could be with my brother again. I wish that I could be with my sister again. I wish that my aunt had not gone crazy. I wish that my cousin didn't have schizophrenia or things like that." And